The weight of the storm. Elena stood at the edge of the cliff, gazing out at the storm that was rolling in from the ocean. The winds howled, and the sky turned an angry shade of gray, as if the world itself was intent on crushing her. Yet amid the turmoil, there was an odd stillness within her. She had come here, to this remote lighthouse, to escape the noise of the world. She had thought that solitude would heal her, but it seemed that fate had other plans. It had not been the quiet retreat she had imagined. In the months since her arrival, everything seemed to go wrong. Her savings dwindled as she struggled to maintain the lighthouse and its surrounding grounds. Her relationships with those back home had frayed beyond repair, and her health was beginning to falter under the strain. The storm was a reflection of her life, unpredictable, violent, and relentless. Yet she had learned, or perhaps been forced to learn, that she could not control the storm. It was not hers to command. What was in her hands was how she chose to meet it. She remembered the words of her late father, a man who had often spoken of the stoic teachings that had shaped his life. "You can't control the storm, Elena," he had said, "but you can control how you ride its winds." The storm raged as Elena turned away from the cliffside and walked toward the lighthouse. She had come to understand that there was no point in fighting the world around her. The winds, the rain, the constant barrage of misfortune, they were all external forces beyond her control. But how she faced them, how she reacted to them, that was her power. As she entered the lighthouse, the familiar creak of the wooden floor greeted her. The storm might be battering the windows, but inside there was warmth. A small fire crackled in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The storm could not reach her here. Elena had not always thought this way. There had been a time when she would have cursed the heavens for her misfortune. She would have raged against the unfairness of it all. But that had only drained her. In the months that followed her arrival, she had slowly begun to embrace the stoic way of thinking her father had taught her. It was not easy. Every time a setback occurred, every time the winds of fate seemed to strike harder, she felt the urge to give in, to let despair take root. But each time, she fought back, not by pushing against the storm, but by standing firm within herself, by acknowledging that the storm was not her enemy. And there had been moments of grace too. There were days when the sun would break through the clouds, casting a golden light over the cliffs. On those days, Elena felt as if the world itself had wrapped her in a warm embrace. It was as if the universe, too, was reminding her that though it might bring hardships, it was also capable of giving gifts, small moments of beauty that made the struggle worth it. One such moment came unexpectedly. She had been tending to the garden outside when a stranger arrived at the lighthouse, his boat battered by the storm. The man, a sailor who had lost his way, had been struggling against the tide for days. Elena had taken him in, fed him, and helped him repair his boat. As he left, he thanked her, not just for her kindness, but for something deeper, the calm that seemed to settle over him after their conversation. "You're different," he had said. "Most people would have cursed the storm, blamed the sea, but you seem to accept it, like you know it's not your fight." And in that moment, Elena realized that she had indeed learned to accept the storm. She no longer fought it. She had learned to navigate it, to adjust her sails to the winds, rather than waiting for the winds to change. Life had not gotten any easier. The storm still raged, both outside and within. Yet Elena no longer felt overwhelmed by it. The winds howled and the waves crashed, but she stood firm, knowing that what mattered was not how fiercely the storm battered her, but how she responded to it. The days passed, and as the storm continued to rage, Elena came to understand something profound. The storm in all its fury was not her enemy. It was a part of the world, a part of the rhythm of life. And just as the storm could not last forever, neither could the moments of peace. It was in the balance, in the acceptance of both, that true peace lay. As the first light of dawn began to break through the storm clouds, Elena stood by the window of the lighthouse watching the world outside. The winds had not stopped, but they had softened. The storm was still there, but it no longer held the same power over her. She had weathered it, not by controlling it, but by controlling her response to it. And in that moment, as the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, Elena realized that the world in its storms and its calm was a gift that could not be controlled, but could be embraced. The storm in all its fury had taught her the greatest lesson of all, that true strength is not found in resisting what we cannot change, but in finding peace within it.